And we are back to Radical Red. I'm just making Radical Red videos because they're fun and a little easier than the Hardcore Nuzlocke at the moment. But today's challenge will be very, very interesting. Today's challenge will be Can I Beat Pokemon Radical Red 3.1 using only the most ugly Pokemon possible. The ugliest Pokemon possible. So I actually went through a bunch of articles and rankings. I thought I had to compile a bunch of data and find the ugliest Pokemon by stats, but apparently a bunch of the articles are either copy pasted themselves or people really have very similar opinions with the ugliest Pokemon. So as you can see, I went through multiple sources and they have pretty similar choices. So I decided to actually hone in on the Gamer article and use all the ugly Pokemon from their list. So they have the top 15 ugliest Pokemon on screen, and it's definitely going to be interesting. Surprisingly, they have Rhyperior as number 15. Very, very disheartening to hear, but we're gonna try to use the ugliest Pokemon in this list to beat Pokemon Radical Red. Pretty much beat Radical Red. Each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys. If you guys want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you guys are down here, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Now let's get into the challenge video itself. Now to begin off with, we have the worst Bulbasaur possible. I really didn't know that you can actually lose this by actually trying to beat your opponent. My Bulbasaur lost to my rival at the start of the game, which is so unfortunate to see. So lucky enough, this is not going to be our Bulbasaur. We're going to box it as soon as we can. Once we head into Burning Forest, we're going to get our first Pokemon. Technically in the rules, Kricketot isn't an ugly Pokemon, but Kricketune is, so I'm allowed to use the pre-evolution. I just can't use like a further evolution if there's not fully evolved, and there will be some Pokemon that aren't fully evolved that I kind of used on accident. The next Pokemon is going to be Nosepass and also an Alolan Grimer, which this one we can't actually evolve because Alolan Muck's not on the list, but Grimer is interesting. We also go out into Pewter City and get ourselves an egg, eventually hatching into the number 2 most ugly Pokemon according to the Gamer.com. Darmanitan is the second or third, I forgot, ugliest Pokemon, which is very interesting. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think Darmanitan's ugly. But from there, we're gonna face off against Falkner next. Falkner is gonna be pretty simple. Actually, Cocomelon, our Nosepass, actually destroyed down Falkner pretty easily for us. Almost beat down the Emolga, but we still have our entire team after the Emolga beats my Nosepass, as I'm able to beat down Falkner and face off against Brock next. Brock's the first gym leader in the game, and of course we're able to Rock Tomb into the Geodude and then get a Bulldoze onto the Onix. Switch out to my Kricketune and outspeed him still. Mega Drain to knock out the Onix, and then he's gonna switch out into the Vulpix. I survive an Incinerate, which is a crit too, kind of annoying, but I'm able to Rock Tomb, knock out the Vulpix. I'll go down to the Arcan, but I could go out into my Nosepass, which knocks out both the Arcan and also the Geodude. So yeah, Nosepass is going kind of crazy. So we end up beating down Brock, and now we can move on. We're gonna beat some raids. Not because there's Pokemon in the raids, I don't think we caught any raid Pokemon on our team, but just because they have a bunch of items when you beat the raids, so it's pretty nice. We want Citrus Berries because they're probably the most useful item in the early game of Radical Red, and also we can clear through Mount Moon, and my team is actually kind of solid. Like, it's rocking through these battles. I cut out a lot of portions of the game where I just got lazy and can't go back to heal my Pokemon. I don't need to heal my Pokemon in this instance. I'm able to clear through Mount Moon pretty easily and also get myself a Timber. Now we're actually dex navving it to get a very special Timber. Now I wanted an Iron Fist Timber. Also I wanted Wide Guard because that'll be useful much later. I'm not too sure if I got it now or not, but eventually we do get a hidden ability, Iron Fist and Timber with Wide Guard as an egg move. So that's very specific for something I want to do later on. Now from there, we're gonna have to go through this egregious route of the Nugget Bridge, clear through the Nugget Bridge. We're gonna spend a little bit of time clearing through this route because it's pretty difficult, but eventually we clear through this route and go into Route 25, where we're able to catch our next ugly Pokemon in a Whismur. Now Whismur is going to be able to evolve into an Exploud, which is one of the ugly Pokemon on the Gamer's website. And from there, we're going to face off against Misty. Misty's the second gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against Misty using my Nosepass to, just sack my Nosepass apparently. I go out to my Kricketune. I'm able to outspeed him because of the Bulldoze, so actually it works out. Pin Missile to knock out the Starmie and then get my Mega Drain off against the Floatzel. She sends out her Frogadier, which I'm able to go out into my Girder, which is an ugly Pokemon. This is also an ugly Pokemon. We can't fully evolve because Girder is ugly, but Conkeldurr is not ugly, as we're able to knock down the Frogadier. Her next Pokemon will be a Lantern. I'm able to stall it a little bit with my Kricketune, but eventually I go out into my Loudred. and it's not at the full power yet. I think this is the only time I'm ever going to use Exploud in the ugly list Pokemon, but I'm kind of excited to use Exploud because Brendan has one and it's very good. From there, we're able to knock down the Lantern and also the Floatzel, as we're able to beat down Misty, get the second gym badge. But yeah, pretty excited to use Exploud. We actually head into Vermilion City next. We get a bunch of punching moves from this move tutor, which is pretty useful. This can help us in the next gym as we face off against Lieutenant Surge next. Lieutenant Surge is going to be the electric type gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Kricktoon. Kricktoon's going to pin Missile. Didn't work too well. And then Mega Drain twice to knock out the Pinchurchin. His next Bolton will be a Boltern. I'm able to go out into my Nosepass and then go for Bodos against the Bolton. 2 Bodos is still not enough for my Nosepass to outspeed him, but I'm able to go out to my Gurdurr, Mach Punched him, force out into his Vigavolt, and then I'm not going to stay in as I do have a Fire type. Unfortunately, he gets critted, and now he's in like range to get knocked out. Fire Punch, he has an Aqua Berry, even more annoying, but I'm able to go for a Fire Punch again, and somehow he lives it. He goes out into his Raichu though, which allows me to go out into my Grimer, and Grimer can easily stall off against the Raichu. I mean to get a knockoff against the Raichu to knock him out, and also get a Poison Fang poison on the Manectric. And then from there, I start fumbling the bag as my Loudred. I don't know why I sacked my Loudred. Go out into my Gurdurr next. Look enough, Wake Up Slap into Poison will knock out the Mega Manectric, and I'm able to Mach Punch into the Vigavolt. But things could look pretty bad for us. From there, we're going to clear through. I don't know why. This route specifically, I evolved my Grimer into the Alolan Muck. And then I realized this is the worst route. So I can't use Muck anymore. So that was a illegal play by sending out Muck. I also found out that my Darmanitan is from the egg in Pewter City. That means it's hidden ability. That means it's a Zen mode Darmanitan. I'm like, oh great, this is even uglier than I expected. So yeah, Darmanitan Zen mode. So that's why he's useless. So that's great to know. From there, we're actually going to go back. Since Muck is illegal now, I'm going to go and catch myself a Belly Drum Swirlex in the grass over here. Special egg move. We're not going to spend our time getting the hidden ability here. We're actually going to go out into Vermilion City and get a bunch of bottle caps from the Sandygast spawns over here, and then go into Saffron City and then change the abilities for us, and also face off against Whitney, something I don't really do too often. It's because since Gurdurr's on my team, I can't evolve him at all. I decided to beat Whitney. This optional mini boss. You were able to get a normal gem and also an Eviolite. Pretty useful. Both very useful items for later on. From there, we're going to face off against Erica next. Erica's the 4th gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Darmanitan, which can blitz the Rillaboom and then sack. Oh my god. Why would Erica explode on the Pro Pass? From there, the Meganium comes out next, and the Meganium gets paralyzed. It can't really do too much. I go out into my Darmanitan, blitz him down. His next Pokemon will be a Superior. I kind of risked it a little bit. He could have got set up, but I do have Mach Punch on my Iron Fist Gurdurr now, and I'm able to knock out the Superior. His next Pokemon will be a Venusaur. I banked on the fact that it wants to go for Sleep Powder, and it worked out as I'm able to get a Dynamic Punch off as well. I am just trolling. And I get a Fire Punch burn. That's insane. From there, my Kricktoon will knock out the Venusaur and put it out of his misery as we're able to get our 4th gym badge of the game. From there, we're going to face off against Giovanni next. Giovanni is a pretty easy fight. We struggle a little bit. From there, we're going to face off against our rival at Silphco. We finally have Belly Drum and Play Rough on my Slurpuff, which is pretty nice. From there, we're able to also have Hyper Voice and eventually Boom Burst on our Exploud with normal gems, so that thing's very powerful. From there, we're also going to face off against Giovanni. Giovanni's not too bad. We have, Belly Drum, Play Rough. Actually, Excadrill knocks me out. Kind of annoying, but eventually we're able to knock out Giovanni. And then from there, we're going to face off against Chuck. Clear the Chuck pretty easily. Nothing too difficult. We're also going to show Chuck a very high attacking stat Pokemon and get ourselves a Focus Sash, and that's him staple onto the Kricktoon. I want to make Kricktoon a champion. From there, we're going to face off against Sabrina next, and finally, my plan works. I have Wide Guard on my Gurdurr, which actually forces the Indeedee to not be able to use Expanding Force. Wide Guard is a move that blocks moves that attack 2 Pokemon at once, 2 or more Pokemon at once. Surprisingly, it works out. It forces the Indeedee to use Shadow Ball, and then for some reason, she sends out her Gardevoir, which also only uses Expanding Force. So it works out. I'm able to Flare Blitz, knock out the Gardevoir, and then from there, the Indeedee will also take 1 more Flare Blitz, as I'm able to knock out 3 Pokemon with my Darmanitan. It has Sheer Force now too, and somehow my Fighting type Pokemon is outlived every single Psychic type Pokemon on her team. the battle is pretty simple. I go for a Boom Burst, knock out the Crawdon with a normal gem as well. Almost knocked out the Ursaluna, eventually knock out the Ursaluna and also my own Girder. From there, we're just going to tackle down. It's a 4v1 at this point against the Porygon 2. So we're able to knock down the Porygon 2 and beat down Sabrina pretty easily. From there, we're going to face off against the worst route in the game, the route right next to Fuchsia City, going down Cycling Road. And you know what? It works out. We're able to clear through it. It doesn't take too long. From there, we're going to face off against Koga next, and all that waiting was not worth it, as we're going to start the battle off against Koga using my Probopass, Thunder Wave into the Dragapult. I switched up to my Slurpuff, and I accidentally got hit by a Shadow Ball, so that means I can't really use my Belly Drum, because unfortunate, but Play Rough, he gets paralyzed lucky enough so I could Play Rough him twice. He sends out his Toxicity, I do outspeed him, but it does like a whole 10 damage. From there I could go out to my Probopass, Earth Power to knock out the Toxicity, so it's pretty entertaining. It's not just Slurpuff spam. I'm able to get Earth Power off against the Drapion as well, and then go out into, okay, Kricketune Pin Missile, okay, it's doing a lot of work, knock out the Drapion, it goes down to the Swellow. But I'm able to go out into my X-Bout, survive a Boom Burst, and show him what a real Boom Burst. I do have Punk Rock as an ability on my X-Bout as well, so it does like double damage with like sound moves. I'm able to survive a Surf from the Greninja and then Boom Burst it back, knock him out, and this final Pokemon will be an Excelgor, which I'm able to knock out in one shot, as we're able to beat down Koga pretty easily. From there, we're going to face off against Price next, and Price, once we beat Price, we're going to get the Choice Scarf for ourselves, which is super nice. Love that. Choice Scarf is probably the most broken item in this game. I'm not gonna lie, it's great for hardcore mode and great for everything. From there, we also can go into Seafoam Islands raid, and I did lie. I remember, just like I did say, we're not gonna catch any raid Pokemon. There is a raid Pokemon. We caught ourselves a Dragovich because it's technically the most ugliest Pokemon possible in every ranking, apparently. Even though there's a few other ugly Pokemon, I would say, like the other fossils within there, like Arctovish. I really don't like Arctovish compared to Dragovich, but I guess, you know what, it looks about the same anyways. From there, we're going to face off against Blaine next. Blaine is going to be the 7th gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my X-Cloud to Boom Burst. Is it a waste? Maybe, but X-Cloud would knock out the X-Cloud would knock out the Torkoal for sure. Do a lot of damage to the Charizard, but not enough as he's going to knock me out, as I'm able to go out to my Dragovich. At Vision Rent, I put the Choice Scarf on him. The Choice Scarf will stay on Dragovich for the end of time, as I'm able to knock out the Charizard, and then he's going to switch out into his Exeggutor, which allows me to go out to my Focus Sash Kricketune, and he goes for a Growth. That allows me to go for a Pin Missile, as yeah, it just two-shots him with Pin Missile. Crazy. Kricketune's doing something. It also does a lot of work against the Cinderace. I survive a Pyro Ball. I lied. Where's my Focus Sash? Didn't I put a Focus Sash on? Okay, so I guess I didn't put a Focus Sash on. Anyways, I'm gonna go out to my Girder against the Cinderace, and it's gonna go for a Pyro Ball. Survive it, Rock Tomb, Mach Punch, and then he's gonna knock himself out with a Life Orb. So you know what, it works out. And then I switch out to my Dragovich. Since the sun's gone, I could just go for a Fisherman, as I'm able to one-shot Typhlosion, and also the Sunflora, as we're able to beat down Blaine pretty easily. Now from there, we're gonna face off against Archer and Ariana, and we make easy work of both of them. As you see, Girder, I don't know how Girder is surviving, and somehow it's like not the most useless member on my team because of the Eviolite and also Drain Punch. And fighting's not a bad typing, especially in Radical Red. From there, we're going to face off against Giovanni next. Giovanni's a pretty hard fight. Not until I realized I could just switch out to my Slurpuff, and Slurpuff has a Wish, Belly Drum, and Play Rough. So I could just spam all of these moves and get my full HP, spam Play Rough into the Mewtwo, and then just knock him out. So yeah, I had really nothing to worry about. Oh yeah, if my HP goes down, I have Drain Punch. So this is a broken Pokemon. Yeah, very fair to have. Lucky enough, they do ban this in hardcore mode, so you can't really cheese it this easily. But from there, we're going to face off against the 8th gym leader in the game next. We're going to face off against Claire. We're going to start the battle off against Claire using my Dragovich. Dragovich is going to two-shot into the Aerodactyl. She's going to switch out to her own Dragovich. She's going to go for a Dragon move as I go out to my Fairy type, and double into my Fire type to catch the Magearna. Flare Blitz it to knock him out pretty easily, and then she switch out into a Dragovich again. I go out into my own, and you know what? Repeat the process. I catch Duraludon, and then unfortunately, I caught Duraludon. You know what? I don't know why I had to sack my Girder, thinking back to it. But from there, I switch out to my Dragovich, which actually knocks him out with a Fission Rend. From there, I catch his own Dragovich again. And finally, I'm able to Belly Jump in front of him and go for a game right there. I don't miss a Play Rough. I don't think I missed a single Play Rough this entire run, surprisingly. I'm able to knock out the Dragovich and also knock out the Dragonite, as we end up beating down Claire pretty easily. Now from there, we're going to face off against both our rivals. We're going to make them both look stupid. We're gonna clear through Gary, Blue, whoever you want to call it, pretty easily. And then face off against Brendan next. And now unfortunately, Brendan's Deoxys goes down to my Girder, which I just want to show because I think is really funny that this almighty god of a Pokemon, Deoxys, goes down to 2 fighting moves from my Girder, the 5th ugliest Pokemon in the rankings. Also, Girder puts a lot of work in. I almost also lost this fight because Jirachi is absolutely broken. With Serene, Grace, and Ironhead, it does not feel like only 30% chance. It feels like a 99% chance. It flinches everything, all times, whenever it needs it. Lucky enough, we're able to beat him. And from there, we could go through Victory Road, which not too much issues at all. I just kind of spammed the A button because, I mean, nothing's too much of a worry. I say that, but I keep losing Pokemon. Eventually, I sent out the most broken Pokemon possible, Dracovish, and yeah, clears through the game for us. Once we clear through Victory Road, we're going to head into the Elite Four next, and we're going to start off our Elite Four challenge. We're not going to switch up our team or anything. We're just going to go into the Elite Four. I refuse to use Rhyperior. I kind of want to use Rhyperior, but I refuse to use him. So we're going to start off our Elite Four challenge by facing off against Lorelei first. Lorelei is going to be the Water type Elite Four member. It's a double battle fight. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Slurpuff, which is going to Belly Drum, and also my Kricketune, which is going to Sticky Web, and for some reason, she decides to attack down my Kricketune, which works out. I go out into my Girder next. Girder is going to go for a Mach Punch against the Focus Sash Poliwrath, as I'm able to play rough and knock him out in the same turn. I'm at low HP, so I decided to go for a Drain Punch against the Kingdra, and also go for a Mach Punch against him to knock him out. As I don't know why this Politoed is not catching on that my Slurpuff is sweeping. I didn't go for a Play Rough for some reason against the Dracovish, as I go for a Drain Punch against the Politoed and then sag my Girder. Should have just went for a Mach Punch. Bad plays. But from there, I'm able to go for a Drain Punch, almost knock out the Dracovish, as he's gonna knock out my poor Slurpuff. As I go out into my Exploud next. Exploud does 0 damage with Overdrive. That's why I just kind of stick with Boom Burst and Boom Burst only. From there, I'm able to Fisherman one-shot the Swampert. How? And then Boom Burst almost knocks out the Kyogre, but for some reason, Origin Pulse also knocks me down. But from there, my final Pokemon will be a Fire type, which I'm able to go for a Superpower, knock out the Kyogre, and we're able to beat down Lorelei pretty easily. Now from there, we're going to face up against Bruno next. Bruno's not too difficult. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Kricketune to go for a Sticky Web, and switch out to my Darmanitan, which is going to outspeed his Scizor, Fire Punch him to knock him out pretty easily. His Urshifu comes out next. I don't know why I sack my poor Darmanitan, but I switch out to my Slurpuff, which gets caught by Zacian. So I'm going to switch out into my Dracovish, which will actually one-shot the Zacian, crazy enough. Also the Terrakion, okay. And then there's Urshifu, kind of. I don't know why their Urshifu live, but you know what? It works out. As I'm going to go for a Rock Tomb. Why am I using Rock Tomb? Almost knocks out the Conqueror with the Rock Tomb stuff. Anyways, from there, I'm able to go for a Boom Burst, which, you know, sucks. I had to use the normal gem here, but from there, I'm going to sack my Exploud, go out to my Girder, knock out the Lucario, and basically the battle's over. I got a Mach Punch their Shifu, as we're able to beat down Bruno pretty easily. From there, we're going to face off against Agatha next. Few attempts. Took me a little bit of time to face off against Agatha, but this finally works out as I'm able to Boom Burst into the Grimmsnarl. It sets up both screens, surprisingly, but as I'm able to get through it still. From there, I'm going to switch out to my Kricketune against her Gengar, which is going to Mega and also go for a Nasty Plot, and then I survive. Finally, I have a Focus Sash on. I don't get poisoned as well. 2 Bodos will force him out into the Marshadow, which is going to knock me out. But I can go out to my Slurpuff next, which will get a Belly Drum, and yeah, that's the end of the battle. Play rough to knock out the Marshadow. The Spectre, I don't outspeed the Spectre, which is crazy. Okay, Dragapult goes down as well. Hydreigon goes down. I should have Dragon Punch, but you know what? We're not going for Optimo, we're going for the game. Knock out the Gengar as well. We're able to beat down Agatha and face out against Lance next. Lance is the Dragon type Elite Four member of the game. He's going to start the battle off against us using a non-Dragon type Aerodactyl. Start the battle off against him using my Girder, Stone Edge, and then Mach Punch to knock out the... Even Girder is destroying the Aerodactyl. From there, he's going to switch out to his Dracovish, which kind of know the play here. I switch out to my own. I go for a Fisherman, and I catch the Dialga. Eventually, I play around with it until it falls asleep. Switch out to my Slurpuff, which gets a Belly Drum off against him, and he can't use Warrior Time because I'm a Fairy type, and I'm able to get my HP all the way up from the Dialga. He switched out to his Melmetal, and since I'm at low HP, he assumes he can go for any move. I go for a Drain Punch, he goes for an Ice Punch, and then he's not able to knock me out as I'm able to 1v1 a Melmetal with my Slurpuff. Crazy enough. From there, I'm also able to knock out the Dragovich, and then from there, maybe I should have went for a Dragon Punch, but the Dragonite would knock me out with extreme speed, and the battle should be pretty much over. 5 Pokemon to his last 2. I go out into, well, I start sacking Pokemon. I go out into my Girder, sack him to the Salamence's Double Edge, and then from there, and basically sack my Dragovich to the Salamence as well. He's going to switch out to his Dragonite, but my Expel will actually survive a Dragonite extreme speed with 1 HP. I use Beam to knock him out, and now we're on to the final battle. We're going to face off against a rival. We're going to face off against the champion of Radical Red. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Kricketune against his Pheromosa. We're going to start the battle off with Sticky Webs of all things. Yeah, and then sack my Kricketune. A lot of work over there, Kricketune. Normally this works. Boom Burst Normal Gem normally knocks out the Groudon. Didn't this time, but I'm going to survive our Precipice Blades and then knock him out. From there, you can switch out to his Ditto for some reason. Okay, and then I'm going to go out to my Slurpuff, get a Belly Drum off against him, and he switches out, which is a bad play. So that means I outspeed everything, and also I got a free +6. So I'm able to play rough into the turn to knock him out. This is the big trouble here. The Mega Metagross. He goes for a Mega. He goes for a Meteor Mash, and he misses on that turn, and the battle is over as I'm able to Drain Punch and knock out the Metagross, and also get a Play Rough off against the Pheromosa. It's gonna get poison on me, kind of annoying, but I end up knocking out the Pheromosa. And for some reason, I go for a Drain Punch against the Yveltal. It's gonna knock me out as I go out to my Dragovich next. Fissure to knock him out. He's gonna Imposter into my Dragovich, which doesn't work out because he's gonna use Crunch. And then from there, I'm just gonna control him. I'm just gonna go for Dynamic Punches until I beat him. And eventually it works out as we're able to beat down Gary, our rival, the champion of the game. And we end up beating Pokemon Radical Red 3.1 using only ugly Pokemon. I feel so bad saying it. They're not ugly Pokemon. I don't know what kind of... If I truly had a ranking of the ugliest Pokemon, maybe 2 Pokemon would be it. Dragovich would be there. I will guarantee that. But Darmanitan is not ugly. Slurpuff, I think Aromatisse looks uglier than Slurpuff. I don't know why Slurpuff's there. Exploud, kind of ugly, but it's not like the craziest thing. It's not the ugliest thing in the world. Like, there's 1,000 Pokemon at this point. I don't think they're ugly. Girder, I could give it, you know, maybe like top 10 ugliest Pokemon Girder, but I don't think, like, most of these Pokemon aren't that ugly. Like, Alolan Grimer? Hello? Probopass? How? Like, I don't know. Anyways, that will be the end of my video and my tangent. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me that you guys support my channel. Anyways, my name has been Alpha. Hope you guys all had a great day, and I'm out. Peace.